Right now, battleground Wisconsin, presidential candidates making their final push in the Badger State, where they'll be today.
Plus, the day after elections, what we can expect on November 6th.
Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to News 3 Now This Morning. I'm Kyrie Lee.
And I'm Michelle Renee Quinn, alongside meteorologist Savannah Brito and the Josh Sprider.
Boy, look at
this desk right now. It's kind of full.
Yeah, I like it though.
So we got to talk about yesterday because we had a little costume contest.
Yes, we do.
We put it all up on Facebook.
You guys read those comments,
yes.
right?
Oh, we did.
But I will preface with this. We did have to do very basic because we could not wear the costumes on air the whole time.
Yeah.
So
oh, yes.
Okay,
we could not put too much into it. Okay.
I won.
Okay, I don't know if we had the photo, but...
Breaking news, Michelle Renee Quinn won the costume
You won
contest.
the costume contest. And because of that, y'all get a bunch of candy because I had to get this out of my house.
Well, thank you, Josh. I'll take the Hershey's
And
with the almonds.
I was second place, so I'll just take a couple.
Go big or go home.
Oh,
We
yeah,
did the
two, because you
full-size
guys
bars at my house this year. So,
I mean,
yeah.
on that note,
We
Please.
needed a Josh Sprider house
Take the
in my
candy.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
thanks, Josh.
We do.
It was a blustery night for trick-or-treating.
Oh my gosh, it sure was. It got real cold real fast, and that pattern actually not going to stick around. Yes, for today and tonight, but then that's all going to change. We're actually going to warm back up, at least to a slightly above normal temperature frame over this upcoming weekend. We're at 35 right now. We still have partly cloudy skies. We will turn to mostly sunny skies, though, but temperatures, they're only going to warm to near that 50-degree mark. It is November 1st. Let's recap October here in Madison. We had 67.6 degrees on average. We see 59.6. The rainfall, we actually checked in pretty much exactly where we should be or should have been for October, but I want to note we were well below average until the rainfall we saw on Wednesday night into early Halloween morning. That was upwards of 2 1/4 of an inch. So we pretty much got all of that as we headed into that coming time frame. But we have more rain in the forecast coming up. I'll have that coming up a little later, guys.
All right, Savannah, thank you so much. We begin with our 3 for the People coverage this morning. Presidential candidates are making their final push ahead of Election Day, and tonight both are set to be in Milwaukee.
Former President Trump will hold a rally at Pfizer Forum. It's set to start at 7 p.m. Meanwhile, Harris's rally will be at the Wisconsin State Fair Exposition Center at 6 p.m. She'll be joined by several musical guests, including Cardi B as a guest speaker. Harris will also make stops in Appleton and Janesville. She campaigned in Arizona and Nevada yesterday. In Los Angeles, Jennifer Lopez joined her on stage.
I've been on stage here many, many times. Too many times to count. But this is the most important stage I've ever been on.
I have another request of you. In these next days, let us please be intentional about building community.
Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump campaigned in Albuquerque, New Mexico. He also spoke at a fireside chat with former Fox News anchor Tucker Carlson. This took place in Glendale, Arizona.
What motivates you to keep going?
Who the hell knows? I don't know. I just want to be with people like this. There's so much love in this room. And I have a lot of alternatives. I could be in a beautiful beach with the waves hitting me in the face and all that boring stuff. And I've been there. And you get very bored pretty easily. I have one thing in mind. It's called Make America Great Again. That's all.
And in just 4 days, America will decide who will be the next president. But the uncertainty likely won't end Tuesday. Our Braden Ross looks at how long the results might take.
Yeah, the ballot count alone could take days in several key states around the country, add in legal challenges and potential recounts, and we could be looking at months before this is all wrapped up. But one political expert I talked to has a reminder for us.
There are 25 votes for George W. Bush for President of the United States.
I'll flash back to 2000. You wake up in the morning and you don't know who's president, and the world is still turning.
The day many Americans have been anxiously awaiting is just around the corner now, but it's very likely that we won't have the answer we're looking for on the morning after Election Day.
For us, we'll know how our state comes out, I think a few hours after the polls are closed. But the country as a whole may be much harder.
The first hurdle is just counting the ballots.
When I'm training my clerks, I'm always telling them, I'm not looking for speed, I'm looking for accuracy.
More than 1 million Wisconsinites have already cast their absentee ballots, but state law says they can't start counting them until the morning of Election Day.
When you're looking at the results and you'll see some results coming in and then they start changing, it doesn't mean that there's a dump somewhere. It means that we're still working on it.
But even once the count is finished, we'll still likely have to wait through potential recounts and legal challenges. Political expert Howard Schwaber says those challenges are pretty much a given if former President Trump loses.
The lawyers are hired, the documents are written to bring legal challenges. Things like, how late the polls are open, claims of unfair or illegal assistance, questions about whether a minor imperfection in an absentee ballot can be overlooked or the ballot has to be discarded.
And just this week, CBS News obtained a federal bulletin from the Department of Homeland Security warning that threat actors could use claims of election fraud to drive election-related violence.
The events of January 6th were horrendous and violent and dangerous. People went to jail and went to prison. That may be enough to dissuade people from engaging in that kind of violence again.
But Schwaber told me he's hopeful the dust will settle and we'll have a winner no matter how long it takes. After all, it wouldn't be the first time we've had to wait.
We've seen it before. And let me hasten to say, we've survived the experience.
Something important to remember here, though, the Associated Press calls races when it is confident the trailing candidates no longer have a path to victory based on a ton of different information. Over the past few elections, the AP's accuracy rate has been more than 99.9%.
Time now is 6:06. If you're driving in downtown Madison, prepare for closures this morning. It will start in less than an hour here at 7 a.m. This is for repaving in the East Doty Street and East Wilson area. There will be 3 different work zones throughout the day. Head to the City of Madison website for the specific areas and times to watch out for.
All right, we are now checking in with meteorologist Savannah Brito.
Guys, we are tracking pretty decent weekend conditions, at least temperatures, but widespread rain on Sunday. We'll talk about when that's expected to move in.
And before we officially flip the page to November in the 608, we're taking a look at some of our memories made during October.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning, brought to you by Toyota.
Dear road rivals, no truck on the road drives value like the Tundra. Day after day, mile after mile, it all adds up to big savings under the hood. What's under yours? Toyota Tundra.
Right now, lease a new Tundra for $479 a month or get 3.99% APR for 72 months on a new Tundra. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places.
You have a clear choice in this election. Senator Baldwin is a 38-year career politician. I'm a businessman and job creator. She supports taxpayer benefits for illegal immigrants. I'll close the border. Tammy wants to put guys and girls sports in their bathrooms. I'll protect our daughters. Senator Baldwin abuses the political system. I'll fight the corruption. I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message. I'd be honored to have your vote.
Rebecca Cook believes our parents and grandparents should be able to age with dignity. In Congress, she'll vote to strengthen Social Security and Medicare by repealing the tax on benefits, lowering the eligibility age for Medicare, and allowing Medicare to negotiate lower drug costs so our seniors get the prescription drugs they need at prices they can afford. Rebecca Cook, a homegrown Wisconsinite who fights for what's right. Project 218 is responsible for the content of this ad.
Kamala backed Biden on everything. She was the deciding vote for his disastrous economic agenda. They raised taxes on the middle class, and prices soared. Kamala was in charge of his open border policies, giving welfare to illegals while Americans struggle, and their weakness invited wars. Now Kamala wants to double down on failure. It's time to turn the page on Joe and Kamala's failed agenda. President Trump fights for you. His strength kept us safe. Trump cut taxes for families. Prices were lower and the border secure. Now, President Trump can do it again.
And we are going to launch a new golden age of American success for the citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed.
Remember, Kamala broke it. President Trump will fix it.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
I, Kamala J.B. Harris, do solemnly swear.
Kamala swore an oath, but Kamala created crisis after crisis. Our troops murdered, an open border, crime in our streets, skyrocketing costs, assassination attempts, Americans abandoned during disasters, and we're on the brink of World War III. a broken oath, and a broken America. Kamala can't be trusted in the Oval Office. Vote for President Trump and save America. Make America Great Again, Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising.
When did you know Eric Hovde was wrong for Wisconsin?
Well, that's easy. When he said that people like me were going to die soon, so we shouldn't be able to vote.
Almost nobody in a nursing home is in a point to vote.
When Hovde said overweight people should pay more for health care.
When I heard he wants to raise the retirement age.
When I heard he's completely against abortion.
I am totally opposed to abortion.
Now we know what's wrong with Eric Hovde. He's not for us.
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
Welcome back. It is 6:10 and time to slow things down and see what's happening in the 608 this morning.
And that's right. Today marks the start of a new month, but Josh Frider is reminiscing about October. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. A lot of fun times. So before we flip the page to November in the 608, let's take a look back at some of the fun we had on News 3 Now this morning over the last month.
Save a flip for the camera, Grace. Can you hear it?
Yeah. And listen to that butter sizzle here at the grilled cheese stand at the World Dairy Expo. You got one ready for me to bite here on live TV. Look at that. That looks like a pretty darn good grilled cheese here, guys. Are you jealous? In the 608, here we go. It's got to have that good crisp. Look what we got. We got the racing sausages. The excitement can be felt right here at AmFam Field. Plus, October ready.
Sports fan in Wisconsin is just passionate. They love their sports, whether it's Badgers, whether it's the Packers, Bucks, Brewers. We have unbelievable sports fans, and they always bring it.
So Melanie, thank you so much for the tour. Chris, we have everything you need to know up on channel3000.com, but I think the funnest thing here is this used to be the jail, so I'm just going to lock myself in the jail here in the 608 as I send it back to you.
Let's do this. 1, 2, 3, go.
There we go. So this is tree number 8 for the area.
This whole project is about healing past wounds. So this community, like every community, has difficult times in its past, but this is a simple way of healing those historic wounds. Apples are also good for you.
All right, and before you can even count to 2, it'll be all done.
Remember, I always hate needles, so I just have to look away. But there it is. I didn't even feel it.
That was it, and you're not even bleeding. Do you want a Band-Aid just in
I'm
case?
probably okay. So, yeah, we're going to tough it out today.
You there, Buccaneers.
This year you went all out on pirates across your whole front yard. What can people see here?
So we did do pirates, and I went big. Oh, kids love it. The parents love it, kids love it. We have people who come from all over the place.
But it leads to a watery tube.
Ghost walk.
Well, this is a great date night opportunity, first of all, and this is a fun opportunity to just kind of know the history, learn everything about the paranormal, and we talk about ghosts, we talk about cryptids, we talk about UFOs and true crime. If it's weird, I'm talking about it.
This is what it's all about, right? We're in spooky season. We're trying to help you with a little bit of that inspiration, and of course, you can't have Mario without Luigi. Oh, hello.
We started putting a big facade up in the front of the house, and then it just kind of led one house to the next. We started decorating each house when we got more and more stuff.
Y'all are still having nightmares about that day.
Oh my gosh, you
It's like it actually gets funnier and funnier every time I watch it back,
It does.
honestly.
It's when you fall in my arms and you're like,
Sometimes it's like wow,
that.
we are dramatic.
Just a little, but you know,
Makes for
trauma
good
never
TV
hurt
then,
anyone, right?
right? So the people love it.
Fun October though, right?
Yeah,
much
very
so.
eventful, I would
It's
say.
always amazing when we do these look backs, right? To see like, wow, we really jammed a lot in 1 month.
Yes.
And now we're going full speed into November.
I was saying, this is some of my favorite holiday seasons,
Yes.
so I'm excited to see what you have in the 608.
Oh, you just wait. It's going to be a fun time over the next couple of months.
All right, well, Josh, thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Remember to let Josh know what you want to see in the 608. And you can email us at inthe608@WISC-TV.com or reach out on social media. But let's Let's check in now with meteorologist Savannah Burrito. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. On average, our first snowfall is actually usually, and when I say snowfall, a trace of snowfall, October 27th. We're already past that. We have not seen a trace of snowfall yet. Hopefully, we can get later and later into the year until we do see that. The earliest on record Madison has seen, that was September 23rd. Our latest, November 28th. And there isn't a big change in our temperature pattern that would lead to believe a decent chance of snow in the forecast. Sure, a couple of nights or days here and there we're going to see temperatures fall, but on average, I think we still are keeping or sticking with that slightly above average temperature frame. 52-34, that's our average high and low the 1st of November, and that's exactly where we'll be today, pretty much seasonal, but then by the 15th that drops 45-29 and then 38-23. On average in Madison through the month of November, we see 3 inches of snowfall, about 2 1/4 inch of rainfall though. And don't forget to set your clocks an hour back before heading to bed. On Saturday night, we do fall back, daylight saving time. Your sunrise today, 7:32, the sunset, 5:48, but then your new sunrise time on Sunday, 6:35 a.m. Your sunset, though, that'll be prior to 5 p.m., 4:46 p.m., very early. We're checking into temperatures at 35 right now. Winds are at 6 miles per hour. Those really did slow down from what we had yesterday and really all night. So that's good news. It won't be breezy. Some sunshine eventually set to return for your Friday. That'll last through Saturday before our next rain chance is going to return. Haven't seen these bars this high aside of what we did have that widespread rain Wednesday night into Halloween. That returns Saturday night through that Tuesday time frame. So we finally get some much needed rain. And no, it's not going to come all at once, which is good news. We're at 50 today, later this afternoon, down to 33 tonight, and then temperatures rise into the weekend. 67 Monday, well above average, but then temperatures come back to what's near normal by the end of next week.
In case you hadn't heard, there's a pretty big match at the Fieldhouse tonight between not only 2 of the best in the Big Ten, but in the country. And you can probably even take it up another level because it's Wisconsin versus Nebraska. The Huskers enter a perfect 10-0 in conference play, while Kelly Sheffield's squad are right behind them at 9-1. So a win, well, that's going to go a long way toward a Big Ten title. The Badgers are looking forward to it.
It's a dogfight every time we play them, and it's a fun match to be a part of, fun match to watch, fun match to reflect on. I think we all understand that to win the Big Ten, we have to go through them.
We're teams who both play very hard and are very passionate about what we do, and I think that results in really good volleyball coming from both teams, which is why we always end up in positions where we're vying for that top spot.
So far this season, Wisconsin women's hockey has made just about everything they've done look easy. Mark Johnson's squad has 5 series under their belt and 10 wins to their name. Their next challenge, a trip to 8th-ranked St. Cloud State against a team that they've beaten 8 of the last 9 meetings. But none of that matters to the Badgers. They're out to prove that when they step out on that ice, they're the best team on the planet.
In this business, you can't ever think you're pretty good, or you maybe don't have to go as hard, or you don't have to do certain things, because that's when you get slapped in the face. And so, the message will be the same.
We've been doing well, but we're not going to take anyone lightly. So I think we need to prove that we can beat a good team who's, they tend to give us a hard time defensively. They've got good goalies. So I think we just got to prove that, we can keep scoring on anyone.
That's it for morning sports. Have a great day.
In health news this morning, cutting back on sugar as early as infancy can protect against diabetes and high blood pressure later in life. That's according to a UK study. It looked at the post-World War II era when sugar was being rationed. It found that babies born during that time grew up to have a 35% lower chance of having diabetes and 20% lower chance of having high blood pressure. The findings show reducing sugar while pregnant and during a child's first 3 years also has a big impact.
More artificial intelligence is finding its way to Google Maps. U.S. users will now be able to get tips from Google Maps about restaurants, bars, and attractions in the area. The site will also provide more detailed imagery to make it easier to see which lane drivers need to be in when making an upcoming turn.
A big change coming to Starbucks next week. Starting November 7th, the company will no longer charge an extra fee to substitute non-dairy milk in a drink. Starbucks says this is one of its customers' most requested changes, and it should save coffee lovers more than 10% on their purchases. Well, still ahead, we're sitting down with Madison Metropolitan School District Superintendent to talk about the referendum.
And coming up in our next half hour, how election texts from your city clerk could help.
And as we head to break, here's a look at gas prices this morning. Time now 6:19. We'll be right back.
News 3 Now, election night coverage, Tuesday.
The other side is lying to scare you. Truth is, Joan Ballweg is a champion for women's health care. She fought hard to expand healthcare access for postpartum moms and supports access for IVF and birth control. We're voting for Joan Ballweg because she votes for women like us.
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
I am a strong believer in pro-life. I am totally opposed to abortion.
Eric Hovde supports abortion bans. Republican extremists in the Senate already want to ban abortion nationwide. No exceptions for rape or incest. They want more anti-abortion judges and to even make birth control and IVF illegal.
I am totally opposed to abortion.
We can't trust Eric Hovde.
I'm a steel worker. I grew up right here on the little family farm. Trump was here campaigning with Elon Musk. Now there's a prime example of who he keeps close. Donald Trump cares about his billionaire friends. He's just going to turn around and give them more tax breaks. But Kamala Harris is fighting for the working class. She'll make billionaires pay their fair share. That way working people get a fair shot. Elon Musk is voting for his money, and I'm voting for mine. And I'm voting for Kamala Harris.
FFPAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
We count on gasoline to power our cars, our tractors, our way of life. So why is a city slicker from Miami, Elizabeth Crappie, okay banning gas-powered vehicles? Extremists like Crappie want to eliminate fossil fuels, robbing hard-working families, farmers, and small businesses of their vehicles. Miami Liz's radical ideas hurt our families and our main streets. Don't let Crappie get away with it. Born and raised right here. Todd Novak is our independent voice for common sense, protecting our way of life.
I'm working harder than ever just to pay the bills and provide for my family. But here's what Kamala Harris thought my money should go to instead. Job training for illegal immigrants even after they commit crimes in America. Hotel rooms for illegal immigrants while our vets sleep on the street. Sex changes for illegal immigrants out of my pocket. Seriously, have these people lost their mind? Kamala Harris can never, ever be our president.
Preserve America PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
I've lost track of how many ugly lies Eric Hovde's told about me, and honestly, I've had enough. But I have faith in the people of Wisconsin. You know I've spent my career fighting to keep American jobs from going overseas, working to crack down on fentanyl and lower the cost of prescription drugs. No billionaire California banker can lie enough to change that. I'm Tammy Baldwin. I've dedicated my life to fighting for Wisconsin, and that's why I approve this message.
Sarah Kieski, she supports lifting revenue limits, allowing property tax rates to skyrocket unchecked. Kieski's backers want to ban natural gas to heat our homes, driving utility bills through the roof. That's Kieski's record, expensive and extreme.
Welcome back. It's 6:22. In 4 days, Madison Metropolitan School District is one of many schools to go to referendum.
That's right. And joining us this morning is Superintendent Dr. Joe Gothard. Good morning.
Good morning.
So the district says the referendum would let you offer competitive salaries and benefits. So what should teachers and support staff anticipate here?
Well, that's one of the most important things. 81% of our budget is salary and benefits. So it's vitally important that we have sustainable revenue moving forward so we can build on the great staff that we have and continue to offer them a competitive salary, one that they can live in our city and in our community.
Yes. And MSD is getting $61 million more from the state than last year. That's $10 million more than you'd budgeted for. How are you going to spend that money?
So here's the important thing to know about that additional state aid that came on October 15th. Imagine that in Madison we have a glass of water. On that glass of water is a lid. And it's full. So we can't use any of that additional state aid for our spendable revenue. All that money goes to defer property taxes in our city. The state since 1993, 1994 has had revenue limits, meaning that we can't put any more water or money into that glass. The question we have before our voters on Tuesday night would give us a larger glass. It would allow us to collect additional revenue from our property taxes, so we could use that for salaries, benefits, for programs to make sure that our students have the best learning environments possible, and to sustain our future moving forward.
Yeah, and do you think that these two questions are going to pass? Like, are we feeling confident? How are we feeling about this?
You know, I think we've done a great job engaging with our community. We have a lot of people who are passionate about Madison schools. It's one of the reasons that I came back to my home city, is because I know how much this community loves our children, loves our schools. And we have to go into it thinking that we're going to be successful moving forward regardless of the outcome.
And I know Madison Metropolitan School District asked for a large amount of money just a few years back, but what makes this amount a little bit different? How is this going to help our students? I know you're saying it's going to help the education of the students, obviously, but what other things will it help?
Well, there's two questions, and the first is operations. So it's revenue that we can spend for the operations of our district. The second questions, and ones that are, you know, back in 2020 and this year in 2024, are for facilities. We have aging facilities in our 53 buildings. The one in 2020 took care of our comprehensive high schools, which are beautiful, and we're grateful to the Madison community. This next one would be $507 million, and it would replace or renovate 10 schools that we've identified throughout the city as well, elementary and middle schools.
And what type of renovations would those be?
Well, these are deep, and you know, I can speak for myself because I attended our schools and I worked for 20 years in our schools. The transformation at our high schools is remarkable. It's flexible learning space. It's learning that isn't fixed to the physical spaces that you have. Teachers can be, you know, incredibly adaptive, using technology that are modern and looking into the future, and also safe for our students as well. Our schools were not constructed in a way that always puts safety first, like they are today.
Absolutely. Well, Dr. Joe Gothard, we want to thank you so much for being here and really, you know, emphasizing that importance of this referendum this coming Tuesday.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. We'll be right back after this.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
When did you know Eric Hovde was wrong for Wisconsin?
Well, that's easy. When he said that people like me were going to die soon, so we shouldn't be able to vote.
Almost nobody in a nursing home is in a point to vote.
When Hovde said overweight people should pay more for health care.
When I heard he wants to raise the retirement age.
When I heard he's completely against abortion.
I am totally opposed to abortion.
Now we know what's wrong with Eric Hovde. He's not for us.
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
I'm Tara, a nurse here in Wisconsin, and my patients don't want politicians like Eric Hovde making their healthcare decisions. He means what he says about opposing reproductive rights.
I am totally opposed to abortion.
And there are forces in Washington who want to pass a nationwide ban on abortion. And if Hovde gets elected, I worry he'll support that ban that could turn nurses like me into criminals. We need to vote against Eric Hovde.
WIN Senate is responsible for the content of this ad.
We know what Joan Ballwig wants to do. Ban abortion and birth control. That's it. That's her plan. Sarah Kieski is focused on bringing costs down, and she has real plans to lower the cost of healthcare and housing, prescription drugs, and to cut your taxes. So if you want a candidate focused on banning abortion and birth control, that's Joan Ballwig. For everyone else, there's Sarah Kieski. She's running for state senate to finally bring costs down.
The problem with Todd Novak? He voted with his extreme party leaders 100% of the time, like voting against lower prescription prices. And Todd Novak authored the law to ban abortion in Wisconsin, with no exceptions for rape and incest. Todd Novak is with the extremists 100%, and he's hurting Wisconsin. Elizabeth Grabe will defend abortion rights, get more police funding, and bring down costs. Elizabeth Grabe for Assembly.
So let's get one thing straight. When Donald Trump talks about cutting Social Security and Medicare, it's like spitting in the face of America's seniors. We paid into these programs for our entire careers, and he would just cut them? Why? He wants to give another tax cut to the super rich which they don't need. I know that Kamala Harris will protect our Social Security because she understands why it's so important for so many of us.
FFPAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
Do you believe in punishment for abortion? Yes or no?
There has to be some form of punishment.
For the woman?
Yeah.
And the punishment is real. Women denied care, unable to get pregnant again, traumatized, scarred for life. Young women who didn't need to die. Now 1 in 3 women live under a Trump abortion ban. And if he's elected, everyone will.
There has to be some form of punishment.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
I'm running for the Senate because I love our country, but sometimes I don't recognize it anymore. What is right has become wrong, and what is wrong has become right. Politicians like Tammy Baldwin have led us down the wrong path. It doesn't have to be this way. We can lower the cost of food and medicine, close our border, and stop the flow of deadly drugs. Let's work together to restore the American dream and give our children a brighter future. I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message, and I'm asking for your vote.
Right now, Bill Clinton campaigns in Milwaukee, while the Harris-Walz campaign is turning to him to reach black voters.
Plus, the election-related text messages you can actually trust. Find out why Dane County is communicating with voters this way.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to News 3 Now this morning on a Friday. I'm Kyrie Lee.
And I'm Michelle Renee Quinn. Happy Friday.
Yes, happy Friday. We've made it to the end of the week. I feel like at some points the week went by slow, then it picked back up.
Really fast, like the rest of October.
Exactly.
But we made it to November.
Yes, we made it to November, and it's feeling a lot like it now. We've been spoiled, but now it is cold out there this morning. Let's check in now with Savannah, who's out on the patio. How's it feeling out there?
Definitely can notice, guys, that it is the start of November. We're pretty much where we should be. It'll be a seasonal start this morning, afternoon, and what's to be expected tonight, too, before warmer temperatures come into play over the weekend. So today, only 50 seasonal, turning mostly sunny out there, although temperatures this morning are close to freezing level. Definitely a lot cooler than those 60s we had, even near 70 degrees overnight. We had record warmth Tuesday and Wednesday, nearly record warmth on Wednesday. That's no longer the case going forward, though. Temperatures are going to be just where we should be this afternoon. Warm fronts going to slide north of here, increasing our chances for showers. We finally get back to a little bit more of an active pattern. Not going to see heavy and quick rain like we did Sunday or on Wednesday into Thursday, but by Sunday morning, we're actually going to have this span over a couple of days, Sunday, Monday into Tuesday. We'll talk about how much rainfall we could see and also talk about the temperature change we'll see after this system moves out of here by midweek next week, guys.
All right, Savannah, thank you. We begin with our 3 for the People coverage this morning. Election Day is just 4 days away, and the campaign stops are still in full effect as the race for the White House tightens.
Former President Bill Clinton campaigned in Milwaukee for the Harris-Walz ticket. Clinton spoke at the Institute for the Preservation of African American Music and Arts. He spoke there in hopes of engaging faith-based voters and members of the black community.
This country has the best future prospects of any country on earth because of our diversity. The future of the country is on the line, and it may be decided in Wisconsin.
Historically, Clinton has a connection with the black community. It's through his own presidential campaigning back in the early 1990s. During this time, he was the governor of Arkansas. He rallied support from black voters in the state. It was instrumental in winning his elections.
The Wisconsin Republican Party responded to Clinton's stop. State Party Chair Brian Schimming released a statement reading in part, quote, "In their latest effort to convince voters that decency and character are on the ballot this November, Wisconsin Democrats are turning to Bill Clinton to make their case. Good luck with that."
It doesn't end there for Milwaukee. Tonight, both presidential candidates will visit Wisconsin's largest city. Former President Donald Trump will rally supporters at the Pfizer Forum. That's where his party's national convention took place in July. Tonight's event is set to start at 7. Meanwhile, Vice President Kamala Harris will be at the Wisconsin State Fair Exposition Center, and that starts tonight at 6. We'll have more details coming up, and we'll be covering both campaign stops this evening, so be sure to have our mobile app, Channel 3000, on hand. You can download that wherever it is you get your apps.
Now, these visits to Milwaukee will add more pinpoints to this map right here. Now, this shows where in our state the presidential candidates have visited. The 7 red pinpoints are former President Donald Trump, and the 8 blue are those of Vice President Kamala Harris. Tonight's campaign stops will likely be the candidates' final visits to the Badger State before the election. A journalism professor at UW-Madison says visits this close to Election Day are a historical norm. She says it's a campaign strategy to make voters feel valued and highlight their final message.
Perhaps it's not just about getting out the vote, but it tells us something more broadly about what these campaigns represent and what they are trying to sell in a certain sense to their voters 6, 5, 4 days out from the election.
While the candidates are making their final arguments, many voters this year have made up their minds. CBS News says as of Wednesday, more than 55 million people have voted early.
You're probably receiving many more election-related text messages than even a few months ago. While you may be tempted to ignore them, one message you may have recently received is legitimate. It looks like this. The Dane County has sent out messages in its election awareness campaign. They're meant to communicate important information regarding voting. And Dane County Clerk Scott McDonald says the aim is to reach voters more easily.
So, for example, if we have to move a polling place, instead of just relying on a press conference, we can actually directly contact all the voters in that ward and say it's been moved for whatever reason, or maybe the hours have been extended.
McDonald says the county will evaluate the campaign after the election, and if it's a success, this may continue for future elections.
6:35, police in Beloit are investigating a bank robbery. Police say a man entered a bank on Cranston Road Wednesday afternoon. He allegedly threatened to use force, took cash, and left. Police say no one got hurt. However, they did not say how much money the suspect stole. At this time, police do not have a description of that suspect. Anyone with information should contact Greater Beloit Area Crime Stoppers. The number is 608-362-7463.
Take a look at this map here. This is the development plan for what will replace the Marty Century Farm property. Now, this includes 6 apartment complexes with more than 200 units. There's also a new subdivision lined with more than 150 single-family homes. Figuring out how many homes can fit on the property is a complex task. It requires balancing quantity and size. Madison's planning director tells us community input plays a major role in these decisions.
Some of this is about balancing different ideas about what our community can and should look like and how much we should grow and where. So that's a big part of what the planning process is about, is helping us make decisions about whether it should be that really large building or whether it should be something more modest.
She says planners then look at zoning regulations along with nearby transportation and infrastructure. They also consider the types of housing in highest demand. The planning division hopes to bring Madison to a healthy vacancy level by 2035. But for that to happen, the city would have to average 2,300 new units every year.
The election is approaching with the U.S. economy in growth. The economy grew 2.8% last quarter. That's slightly down from the 3% from the previous quarter, but it's slightly above what economists had predicted. And the latest data on inflation shows it cooled even more last month. The Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index showed a 2.1% annual price rise. That's down from 2.3% in August. While some economists are calling this a soft landing, the White House is skeptical of using that term.
If you think about an airplane trip with a soft landing or landing, everybody disembarks, they get off the plane, they go about their business, flight's over, you don't necessarily even remember it. That's not how economies work. They never land, you never stop dealing with them, you never get off the plane and leave the airport, and that's it for the economy. From our perspective, we always have more work to do.
And even though Americans' compensation growth is slowing down, it continues to outpace inflation. Coming up after the break, how Chicago's Field Museum is trying to uncover the secrets of mummies.
And we're finally talking about sunshine returning after a very windy and rainy last couple of days. We'll talk also about when more rain is going to return to our forecast.
Plus, before we officially flip the page to November in the 608, we're taking a look back at some of our favorite memories made during October.
I'm a steel worker. I grew up right here on a little family farm. Trump was here campaigning with Elon Musk. Now, there's a prime example of who he keeps close. Donald Trump cares about his billionaire friends. He's just going to turn around and give them more tax breaks. But Kamala Harris is fighting for the working class. She'll make billionaires pay their fair share. That way, working people get a fair shot. Elon Musk is voting for his money, and I'm voting for mine. And I'm voting for Kamala Harris.
FFPAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
Washington is corrupt. Senator Baldwin says she fights against Wall Street, and yet she lives with a Wall Street executive and gets all this money from Wall Street. She says she's standing up to Big Pharma and Big Tech, but look at the money she rakes in from Big Pharma, Big Tech, and their executives. Senator Baldwin doesn't work for you, she works for them. I'm Eric Hovde, I approve this message. I'm not taking their special interest money, I'll only work for you.
4 years ago, we took a wrong turn and lost our purpose. We lost the strength that makes Americans who we are. If we dared to speak the truth, it was called hate speech, and our values were labeled shameful. That's when everything we care about fell apart. We surrendered our borders, our paychecks, and our courage. Our patriotism was called toxic. Men could beat up women and win medals, but there was no prize for the guy who got up every day to do his job. Now we're being asked to settle for the way things are. And we're wondering if America can make a comeback. We can, because we've done it before. When we get knocked down, we don't stay down, we get up again. We fight, we fight, we fight.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
The problem with Todd Novak? He voted with his extreme party leaders 100% of the time, like voting against lower prescription prices. And Todd Novak authored the law to ban abortion in Wisconsin, with no exceptions for rape and incest. Todd Novak is with the extremists 100%, and he's hurting Wisconsin. Elizabeth Grabe will defend abortion rights, get more police funding, and bring down costs. Elizabeth Grabe for Assembly.
After my son was born, I was having a hard time leaving him, only being able to see him once before going to work and then once before bed. That's just not enough time.
At my old job, my entire check went to daycare to pay to be away from my child. We bring our kids with us in the mornings and they ride with us on our routes and then they go to school.
I'm on a route where I'm the one dropping my kids off at school. It's been phenomenal.
Being able to bring them with me has been really great for our family.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning. Moving forward.
The CDC has some new data on how much time teens spend on screens. New findings show about half of teens had at least 4 hours of daily screen time. High amounts of screen time have been linked with poor sleep, fatigue, and anxiety or depression. Doctors say parents need to understand what social media use is healthy and unhealthy.
Is it interfering with the day-to-day kinds of activities that promote positive development for young people? So that includes healthy bedtimes, having dinner with your family, spending in-person time with friends, and doing sports and other after-school activities.
Medical experts say parents should set boundaries and limits while also keeping the lines of communication open.
Scientists at the Field Museum in Chicago are hoping to learn more about the people inside mummies. To do that, they're virtually unwrapping the mummies. The study will span 4 days. They'll put 26 mummies through a mobile CT scanner just outside the museum. This technology creates thousands of x-rays of the individuals. They are then digitally stacked together to provide a 3D picture of what's inside. The study has only just begun, but staff have already been able to answer some mysteries behind the most famous remains at the museum.
In 6th grade, that was my favorite subject, studying ancient Egypt, hieroglyphics, King Tut. This looks like something I have to
take a trip back home just to see what's going on with these mummies.
Yes, I will need to. Well, the time is 6:43. Savannah Brito is here now with our weather.
Thank you, Michelle Renee. We are tracking at least the next couple of weeks, sticking give or take a day here and there. A warm at least start to November. Not today, we're actually going to be seasonal, but let's recap October. We had 67.6 degrees. That was our sum this past month. Average 59.6. Our rainfall actually fell exactly pretty much where we should have been, but Up until Wednesday, that system that did move in that sparked even some stronger storms, lightning and thunder, definitely heavy rain, we were sitting well below average. So that rainfall basically got 2 1/4 of an inch that one night. That actually brought us to where we should be. Time change, daylight saving, we fall back on Saturday night, so don't forget to set your clock an hour back before heading to bed. Your sunrise today, 7:32, sunset 5:48, but check out our new sunrise Sunday and our sunset time. 6:35 will be our new time here in Madison of that sunrise. The sunset, unfortunately, 4:46 p.m. At least it'll make it easier to go to bed for everybody that does have to work morning shift. 35 in Madison, 35 in Verona, 34 in Sauk City. Temperatures a little bit warmer than freezing level. This is about where we should be outside of Dane County across southern Wisconsin. Very similar. We don't really have any areas that are down to the upper 20s. Not really a wind chill. Those winds that were gusting very strong all day yesterday luckily died down, but we are going to see those pick up again as early as tomorrow. The next couple of days aside of today will be back to above average. Over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday will be pushing that 60-degree mark, and then even warmer than that heading into Monday and Tuesday. During that time frame when we are going to be warmer, we get back to an active pattern though, with rain returning to the forecast as early as Saturday night. We'll see plenty of sunshine today. That will last through most of tomorrow until that rainy pattern is going to settle in for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Our updated drought monitor did show that moderate drought expanding. Everyone at least included in that. The rain we got Wednesday night into early Halloween, that was pretty much very widespread but short-lived all at once. That's not good when we're in a drought. Luckily, we do have more rain that Sunday, Monday, Tuesday time frame before we start to see more sunshine, but cooler temperatures also during that.
All right, we will be checking back in shortly. Savannah, thank you. And it's time to slow things down and see what's happening in the 608 this morning.
Today marks the start of a new month, but Josh Frieder is reminiscing about October. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. So before we flip the page to November in the 608, let's take some time, take a look back at some of the fun we had here on News 3 Now this morning over the last month.
Save a flip for the camera, Grace. Can you hear it?
Yeah. And listen to that butter sizzle here at the grilled cheese stand at the World Dairy Expo. You got one ready for me to bite here on live TV. Look at that. That looks like a pretty darn good grilled cheese here, guys. Are you jealous? In the 608, here we go. It's got to have that good crisp. Look who we got. We got the racing sausages. The excitement can be felt right here at AmFam Field. Plus, October ready.
Sports fan in Wisconsin is just passionate. They love their sports, whether it's Badgers, whether it's the Packers, Bucks, Brewers. We have unbelievable sports fans, and they always bring it.
So Melanie, thank you so much for the tour. Chris, we have everything you need to know up on channel3000.com, but I think the funnest thing here is this used to be the jail, so I'm just going to lock myself in the jail here in the 608 as I send it back to you.
Let's do this. 1, 2, 3, go.
There we go. So this is tree number 8 for the area.
This whole project is about healing past wounds. So this community, like every community, has difficult times in its past, but this is a simple way of healing those historic wounds. Apples are also good for you.
All right, and before you can even count to 2, it'll be all done.
Remember, I always hate needles, so I just have to look away. But there it is. I didn't even feel it.
That was it, and you're not even bleeding. Do you want a Band-Aid just in
I'm
case?
probably okay. So, yeah,
great.
we're going to tough it out today.
You there, Buccaneer.
This year you went all out on pirates across your whole front yard. What can people see here?
But we did do pirates, and I went big. Oh, kids love it. The parents love it, kids love it. We have people who come from all over the place.
But it leads to a watery tube.
Ghost walk.
Well, this is a great date night opportunity, first of all, and this is a fun opportunity to just kind of know the history, learn everything about the paranormal, and we talk about ghosts, we talk about cryptids, we talk about UFOs and true crime. If it's weird, I'm talking about it.
This is what it's all about, right? We're in spooky season. We're trying to help you with a little bit of that inspiration, and of course, you can't have Mario without Luigi.
Oh, hello.
We started putting a big facade up in the front of the house, and then it just kind of led one house to the next. We started decorating each house when we got more and more stuff. It's okay, guys.
Nice little bow on spooky season as we officially enter Turkey Month.
Yay, Turkey Month!
which is one of my favorites.
Isn't
right
that
next
crazy?
to Christmas. Wait, I know we're reminiscing on October, but did you get your tree up last night?
Yes. The last trick-or-treater left, and we put our Christmas tree up. We started that tradition last year. I love Christmas, and it's just something, especially on these hours, I love to have the lights to look at. I love to enjoy it, so it makes me happy. I know a lot of people are probably at home like, after Thanksgiving. Do what makes you happy. That's all that you got to do, right? So, yeah, so I'll be putting the rest of my Christmas decorations up throughout the weekend.
Okay, I can't wait
a
to
little
see
picture.
it.
I'll
or
get you a
video or
picture.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you, Josh.
Yeah,
but October was eventful.
It was eventful.
Yes, in the haunted house. Although I was scared, it was fun with you guys.
It was a lot of fun.
It was fun.
Some good memories.
Yes, I can't wait to see what this month has in store for you.
You
in
just
608. All right, Josh. Thank you.
You bet.
And remember, you can catch Josh's feature stories on channel3000.com.
Remember to let Josh know what inspires you in the 608. You can either reach out on social media or email us at inthe608@WISC-TV.com for a chance to be featured. And coming up in the morning, Sprint, a new report on vaccination rates among healthcare workers.
But first, if you have a little kid turning 3 soon, we want to see them. So please let us know so we can show their picture on TV. Thanks for watching. We'll be right back.
Sponsored by Three Bears Resort, Indoor Water Park and Conference Center in Warrens, Wisconsin.
I'm Joan Balwig, and I'm here to set the record straight. I support birth control, the life and health of mothers, extending postpartum care, and fertility treatments, including IVF. I'm Joan Balwig. I have always fought for Wisconsin moms, and I always will.
When did you know Eric Hovde was wrong for Wisconsin?
Well, that's easy. When he said that people like me were going to die soon, so we shouldn't be able to vote.
Almost nobody in a nursing home is in a point to vote.
When Hovde said overweight people should pay more for health care.
When I heard he wants to raise the retirement age.
When I heard he's completely against abortion.
I am totally opposed to abortion.
Now we know what's wrong with Eric Hovde. He's not for us.
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
I, Kamala J.B. Harris, do solemnly swear.
Kamala swore an oath, but Kamala created crisis after crisis. Our troops murdered, an open border, crime in our streets, skyrocketing costs, assassination attempts, Americans abandoned during disasters, and we're on the brink of World War III. A broken oath and a broken America. Kamala can't be trusted in the Oval Office. Vote for President Trump and save America. Make America Great Again, Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Under Kamala, there's been a big hike in Medicare premiums. Social Security benefits don't go far with Kamala's inflation slamming seniors. Now Kamala wants struggling seniors to pay more Social Security taxes, while she gives Medicare and Social Security to illegals. That will doom Medicare. President Trump will make sure no one cuts Medicare or Social Security. Trump lowered Medicare premiums, and he'll end the tax on Social Security.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Todd Novak is a compassionate and independent voice for us in the Assembly, but Elizabeth Grobby will tell any lie she needs to get herself elected. Grobby's dishonesty about Todd Novak is shameful. The truth, Todd Novak passed legislation protecting exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother, and voted to expand access to birth control, not ban it. It's time to reject the desperate and ridiculous lies from Elizabeth Grobby and her radical allies. We deserve better. Todd Novak for Assembly.
I know plenty of you and you're rich as hell. We're going to give you tax cuts?
I'm sick of these billionaires always getting the tax breaks while working people get screwed. Trump is a reverse Robin Hood. He wants to steal from the working man like myself and give it to the rich. Kamala has a plan to end price gouging and make life more affordable for working people because she fights for us. I'm Steven. I'm not rich as hell, and I'm voting for Kamala Harris.
FFPAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
You have a clear choice in this election. Senator Baldwin is a 38-year career politician. I'm a businessman and job creator. She supports taxpayer benefits for illegal immigrants. I'll close the border. Tammy wants to put guys and girls sports in their bathrooms. I'll protect our daughters. Senator Baldwin abuses the political system. I'll fight the corruption. I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message. I'd be honored to have your vote.
Sarah Kieski, she supports lifting revenue limits, allowing property tax rates to skyrocket unchecked. Kieski's backers want to ban natural gas to heat our homes, driving utility bills through the roof. That's Kieski's record, expensive and extreme.
Susan Simon, News 3 Now at 4 and 5, weekdays moving forward.
Welcome back. It's 6:53, time for the morning sprint.
New this morning, 2 people are dead and 6 are injured after a shooting in downtown Orlando. A 17-year-old suspect has been arrested. Dozens of police officers responded to a possible mass shooting. A call came in just after 12 o'clock Central Time this morning. The shooting happened during a Halloween celebration.
Tonight, both presidential candidates will visit Wisconsin's largest city. Former President Donald Trump will rally supporters at the Pfizer Forum. Tonight's event is set to start at 7. Meanwhile, Vice President Kamala Harris will be at the Wisconsin State Fair Exposition Center. That starts tonight at 6.
Police in Beloit are investigating a bank robbery. They say a man entered a bank on Cranston Road Wednesday afternoon. He allegedly threatened to use force, took cash, and left. Police say no one got hurt. They did not say how much money the suspect stole, and anyone with information is asked to call Greater Beloit Area Crime Stoppers.
If you're driving in downtown Madison, prepare for closures this morning. It will start in just a few minutes. This is for repaving in the East Doty Street and East Wilson area. There are 3 different work zones throughout the day, so you need to head to the City of Madison's website for those specific areas and times to watch out for.
U.S. officials are back in the Middle East this week. They're trying to convince Israel to commit a ceasefire deal with Hezbollah and Hamas. But multiple sources believe Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is waiting on the outcome of the election. U.S. officials say they are seeking to deter an Iranian counterstrike. This could come before the election.
Flu and COVID vaccination rates are low among healthcare workers. A CDC study found fewer than 1 in 6 healthcare workers got the COVID vaccine last year. Fewer than half of those working in nursing homes received a flu vaccine. Vaccinations are necessary to protect vulnerable and immunocompromised people in healthcare facilities.
The election is approaching with the U.S. economy in growth. The economy grew 2.8% last quarter. That's slightly down from the 3% from the previous quarter. But it's slightly above what economists had predicted. And the latest data on inflation shows it cooled even more last month. It's down 0.2% from August.
And in Spain, more than 150 people are dead after historic flooding in the Valencian community. That number is expected to grow as search and rescue operations continue. This is the worst natural disaster to hit the European country in 100 years. A year's worth of rain fell in 8 hours on Tuesday.
We are going to see rain move in here. An active pattern will settle in Sunday through Tuesday, where we get some much needed rain. It's not all necessarily going to come at once, which is a good thing when you're in a drought, which all of us across southern Wisconsin are. 50s day, 33 tonight, and then we warm into this upcoming weekend.
All right, at least we're getting some sunshine.
Yes, that too, and first full weekend of November.
All right. We're back with the news and weather update in 30 minutes.